Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Thursday, the 21st of August. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which is going to record highs, presumably off the back of the government's wonderful economic policies, etc. And here you can see that we have reached that red resistance line, which was basically 93.30. We were looking for that perhaps by the end of this month, and now we're looking for the top of that rising trend channel from June as high as 9,500 by the end of next month. Ideally, we stay above the recent 92.22 resistance, which we now regard as neckline resistance turning into support. Worst case scenario at the moment is that we have to test the floor of that June channel, 91.50, but not really expecting anything lower than that, even though the initial August support there was 90.27. Moving along to the DAX, and here the situation is that we have been hoping that this market would break that July resistance line, but it just seems to be right on it. So I suppose it's seen it and just doesn't have the energy to get through towards 24,500 and beyond. RSI at 53, so still in a positive consolidation rather than negative one, and obviously we've got the 50 and 200 day lines both rising. And the message at the moment is we need basically a clearance of 24,500 to give us 25,500 by the end of next month, giving this market a bit of extra time given how slow it is at the moment. The absolute floor at the moment looks to be around 23,500, the July and August support. Onto the Dow, and it's obviously and will be difficult for this market to break through the 45,000 level, given that everyone's looking to the record high area. Nobody wants to be the person who pays top dollar. But once we get our definitive break of 45,000, then looking for the top of that channel from May last year, size 47,500 by the end of next month. Upside value while we remain above the 50-day line at 44,000. I suppose the easiest strategy, if the market offers that opportunity, would be to buy any dips towards that 50-day line. On to the cryptos, and it's been a little bit of a struggle for Bitcoin in recent days. We've gone back below the level we didn't want to break down below, which was 115, but we have actually found support at the old May resistance, 112,000. Above that, still presuming that we are on our way for a top of March rising trend channel target around 132. An end of day close back above the 50-day line, 116, probably the trigger there, and or the RSI getting back above neutral 50. It's now down at 43, which is not a great look, and I think we're lucky that we don't have a more full-blooded sell-off towards July support around the 105, 106 level. Next up is Ethereum, which it looks as though it is actually outperforming or trying to outperform the Bitcoin situation. Although that said, we had actually found support for this market near the old December resistance. So you could almost argue that's the equivalent of 112,000 on Ethereum. So the lows there around 4,100. Above that, though, we're looking for the second resistance line there, 45.30, let's call it, and then above that up to 5,500. I suppose 5,500 is currently the best case scenario for this market while we're above, or at least on the right side of 4,000. The other point to note is we've had a sharp RSI 50 rebound, the second one so far this month, which should be a leading indicator on the upside. Moving along to gold, and here market's been very slow indeed, and just bumping along the bottom of that rising trend channel from April, the floor of the channel there around the 33.20 level, let's call it, and above that looking for an April resistance line there, 34.10 now. Would need to be broken to give us the prospect of a move up to 3,800 by the end of next month. But even though this looks like a positive consolidation, it just seems to be very, very slow indeed, and not surprising given obviously how many gains the market's made over the past year. So we're obviously taking up the slack. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with Andrada, which had an announcement today. Here we've got a rising trend channel base The floor of the channel and the 200-day line around 2.7 pence above that. We're hoping for up to 4 pence plus by the end of next month, although obviously this has been a rather slow situation since the middle of April. Requested stock is next, and one where we can take a bow, or at least I can take a bow, because the shares have hit the target line there around 12 pence, the top of that rising trend channel from November, above 12. Now we're looking for rather geometrically for up to 16 pence by the end of next month. Ideally, we stay on the right side of 11 pence, the recent bull flag floor. The other point to note is we've had multiple points, support points for this stock at and above RSI 50. In fact, you could actually argue we've been above RSI 50 since early April, which is quite an achievement. The other positive is the way that we gapped through the 10 pence level, and we've actually had decent follow through. So this looks very strong indeed. 16 pence while we're above 11. On to Capai, where there's or Capai, where there is the prospect of a move back to the top of the range. We've had the two RSI 50 rebounds so far this month. So looking for the shares to remain on the right side of 0.5 pence and then head up to say 0.8 at the top of the range by the end of next month. Cloudbreak Discovery has finally become it was an ugly duckling which turned into a swan. Here we were already looking for a rising trend channel base and a target there towards 0.3. Obviously, you can see that today the stock blew the doors off. Current position is that we can get an end. Well, the longer we can stay above, or if we can stay above 0.3 pence, we're looking for a best case scenario target as high as 0.5 pence by the end of next month. But I presume there could be the prospect of fundraisers and this and that in the meantime. Worst case scenario is that we've got to head back and test the old June support of 0.22 before heading higher again. But the key thing there is staying on the right side of 0.3 pence. Moving on to geo exploration, where I have covered the shares quite a few times. Situation got slightly more messy in the recent past, but the initial target here was 0.24, second target there, 0.42 now, which we're looking for by the end of next month. Mostly RSI 50 rebounds above neutral 50, or at least at it since the beginning of last month, which is healthy, and ideally we now stay on the right side of 0.25 as we build higher. Ithaca is next, and I suppose it's not quite the normal type of stock we look at, 3 billion market cap, but rising like a homesick angel at the moment, breaking the old resistance there at 185, and above that looking for the upper parallel of that broadening triangle base as high as 260 by the end of next month. So pretty good or pretty decent setup there on Ithaca. In the meantime, the old target there towards 188 hopefully becomes new support. On to Mast, and the glorious bull run continues. Here we've got the big breakout continuing. I think it's the fourth target, and we've got the final fifth target there at £1.40, which we're looking for by the end of next month. We were looking for by the end of next month, the way things are going. We'll get there by the end of this month and be forced to come up with a new target there for the stock. Ideally, we stay on the right side of yesterday's resistance around 105, which admittedly is quite a large stop loss. On to Sunrise, where there's just the first signs that the shares are actually going to deliver fresh leg to the upside. We've managed to hit the rising top of the rising trend channel base there at 0.024. Above that, above current level, well, actually basically above the 200-day line at 0.022, looking for the upper parallel of that rising trend channel base as high as 0.047 by the end of next month. So high expectations there, or great expectations, given the setup at the moment. Finishing off with Wishbone, which has done exactly what we wanted it to do on several occasions. Here you can see that first target there was around 0.29, the second one 0.5 or so, and then third 0.72. Fourth one, 1.1 pence, which has obviously been exceeded today. If we look back and see where the shares have been, and the next level up, really, the old May 2024 resistance line around the 1.45 level. So hopefully by the end of next month, which gives the shares plenty of time, we'll see the stock somewhere in that zone. Ideally, we stay above the floor of today's gap, 0.96, ahead of the move to the upside. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.